Hello friends, I am Welshie and welcome to Theory Pop. In today's video we're taking a look at the highly anticipated indie platformer Eagle Island. The developer Pixelnix has been teasing the lush and vibrant world of the game since the successful Kickstarter campaign in 2017, with GIFs and trailers released on a fairly regular basis. Now that the game is out, we can finally explore the island of Yulu with our owl companion Koji, and answer the most burning question that has been on everyone's mind for the last 2 years. Can owls actually headbutt things into non-existence? The answer to that is no, probably not. And I have to say probably not because owls are secretive and mysterious beasts and none may know their true nature with any certainty. So let's rein that question in a bit and instead ask a slightly more general question. Does Eagle Island's Falconry based gameplay have any relation to the real life activity? In Eagle Island you play as Quill, a young boy on a sailing adventure with his owl companions Koji and Ichiro. After a storm shipwrecks them on a mysterious island, they set out to explore their new surroundings. Not long after, they are attacked by a giant eagle named Armora, who takes Ichiro and flies off, leaving Quill and Koji behind. Quill acquires an ancient falconry glove that allows him to command Koji to attack enemies, and they set off across Yulu Island to rescue Ichiro. Combat within the game is pretty unique. Quill is unable to directly attack the monsters within the game. Instead, he relies on Koji to defeat them. You launch Koji like a projectile at enemies, aiming along any of the 8 cardinal directions available on a D-pad. Koji travels in a straight line until he collides with an enemy, a wall, or reaches the end of his attack range before returning to Quill. You can imbue Koji's attacks with the elemental powers of fire, lightning and ice once you have found the necessary upgrades, but for this theory we're going to focus on the core falconry mechanics in the game. Falconry is the use of trained birds of prey, also known as raptors, to hunt animals or game in their natural habitat. The birds aren't tethered to their handler and are able to fly freely, but they are trained to return to the falconer. Typical raptors include buzzards, hawks and falcons, and the falconer will use a glove, called a gauntlet, to provide their avian companion a place to perch when they return, while protecting themselves from the predator's sharp talons. When Quill first arrives on Yulu Island, he doesn't have a gauntlet. Based on the introductory cutscene and our first foray onto the island, Ichiro and Koji don't appear to behave like trained birds of prey. They always fly close to Quill and never try to land on him or use him as a perch. We can deduce from this that Quill didn't train his avian companions for traditional falconry use, so he hasn't needed this kind of equipment before. However, Quill does receive a falconer's glove from Dr. Oliver Ornis while on the island. The design of this gauntlet in-game and in promotional material does appear consistent with those used in falconry. The glove covers Quill's entire hand and extends partway up the forearm towards the elbow. The colour and appearance of the gauntlet would suggest it is made of a type of leather, as many falconers' gloves are, as it is a tough, protective material that prevents injury from a raptor's talons. So the equipment Quill has access to is accurate. But what about the other aspects of falconry portrayed in the game? It might sound a little strange to use an owl for falconry. As mentioned earlier, birds of prey typically used include falcons, such as the peregrine falcon, or buzzards. Owls are used in falconry, but this is less common, as they are trained differently due to their use of hearing as much as sight when hunting. The most frequently utilised types of owl are the Eurasian eagle owl and the great horned owl. Koji certainly bears a resemblance to the Eurasian eagle owl, so using him for falconry is within the realms of possibility. But falconry as a combat mechanic is something else entirely. When preparing to launch Koji for an attack, Quill summons the owl to him. Koji perches on the gauntlet and Quill aims in the direction to launch his companion, before Koji takes off in a straight line on the set trajectory. Quill assists Koji, thrusting his arm forward to begin the attack animation, sending the owl on his way. This does appear consistent with falconry techniques. The falconer, when launching the raptor into flight, can assist the bird's takeoff and general direction by launching them into the air. Though I've yet to find anyone throwing a bird in a direct line straight up, the main mechanic of Koji perched on Quill's arm before being launched into flight for the most part stands up to the real thing. Unlike Koji, however, birds of prey don't generally headbutt their target, instead using their talons. We see Armora do exactly this when she birdnaps Ichiro, grasping the smaller owl in her large talons. Koji, on the other hand, appears to collide directly with the enemy in his path face first, causing damage to tougher enemies or outright defeating weaker ones. It's a visually dramatic method of attack, but owls are more likely to grasp at prey using their talons first. Let's assume that Koji behaved the same way, and used his talons instead when he makes contact with a monster. If the owl on the offensive were to attack in this way, just how much damage could he do? Quite a lot, as it turns out. Owls are birds of prey after all, and are adept at hunting. The largest prey the Eurasian eagle owl typically hunts is the mountain hare. These hares can grow a little over 2 feet in length and weigh close to 12 pounds. That's a fairly hefty target. But Eurasian eagle owls are powerful predators. Though there doesn't appear to have been an official measurement recorded, I did find one reference to the Eurasian eagle owl that stated when closing their feet, they can exert a pressure of up to 750 pounds per square inch, or psi. For reference, the human skull can withstand around 520 psi. If Koji is based on the Eurasian eagle owl, he's perfectly capable of causing some serious damage to any monsters he may encounter. The core combat mechanics do seem to line up pretty well with contemporary falconry. There are elements that take the game beyond the realm of realism, however. I mean, it's probably not a good idea to electrify your bird, but these additional elemental effects are from the game's magical totem birds from Ulu Island. I won't say any more than that because I don't want to spoil the plot of the game just yet. There is definitely a clear influence of real falconry on the game mechanics in Eagle Island. Quill uses technically correct equipment in the form of a falconer's gauntlet that appears to be made from an appropriately protective material. Owls, though not as common as other bird species, are used in falconry, so Koji certainly fits the requirement here. And Quill's technique for handling and launching his avian companion, though obviously stylised for the game, does appear to conform for the most part to falconry techniques. If you do try falconry though, just don't expect your bird to shoot lightning or explode on impact. But what do you folks think? Have you tried Eagle Island yet? What are your thoughts on its design and falconry based combat? Have you tried falconry yourself? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more theories and fun videos, and I'll see you next time.